You know me, I'm always looking to find new ways to display even more awesome Lego sets. And today I want to make an improvement to the studio, specifically this shelving room right here, which is mostly Star Wars. I see some open space for the taking there. Around that door, doesn't look too good at all. I think we need to convert all of that open space on the left and right side and also above the door into awesome Lego displays. I think that would be a good thing to do, right? So I actually went to Ikea this morning and I picked up some supplies. So now I just need to build these two cabinets. I have built so many of these Billy bookcases, it's actually pretty funny at this point. Well, actually not these ones. They're the half Billy bookcases. But you build them the exact same way as the large ones, and I didn't even need the instructions to build these. Pretty easy just to go around with the power drill, put in all the little screw bits, put in the dowels, insert the shelves, put the two halves together, slide the back in, and nail it in place. Actually, I did need to look at the instructions once, and that was just to tell how many nails there were. I didn't feel like counting because I wanted to make sure that I evenly distributed the nails on the top, midsection, and bottom. But just like that, I've got two bookcases ready to go for the Lego Star Wars room. So these cabinets, of course, are going to go on either side of the doorway. There are lots of different things that I could have done with this space, but I think using these smaller bookcases is better because it's on either side of the doorway, and I didn't want to make the entrance to the doorway too narrow. Now, there's still lots of things that I need to think about in regards to framing the top and also what to do with the void space. And my wheels are turning, that's for sure. So of course, the other day when I was here, I made this diagram, wrote down all the dimensions, and then I wrote down some of the dimensions of the fixtures that they offered at Ikea, did a bunch of number crunching, and came up with a shopping list. And unfortunately, Ikea didn't have everything on my shopping list in stock. That's sort of annoying. So I will be going back to Ikea to get more stuff, but that's all right. It seems like I always need to go there to get more fixtures for the studio. Now, one of the options that I had was actually to get the PAX wardrobe units, like these giant ones, but half the width. And that would work on this side over here. But I didn't want to make this entrance too narrow. So I decided to go with the half Billy bookcases for a couple of different reasons. The entrance being narrow is the major one. And I actually have another idea involving a different type of shelf. It's called the lac shelf, so it's part of the same product line as this. But this is like a long shelf that you can put stretching across the top if we so choose. But the other one that I want to get is approximately that tall, actually. And it would actually come out to about there because it's 11 3/4 inches wide. And this one would mount to the wall, and then you have these little squares that come off the thing that's mounted to the wall, and it's an open concept, so it doesn't have the enclosures on either side. And what I think is cool about that is we'll have shelves that are floating, and you can put Lego sets on the shelves, and they'll be very visible, and they'll actually have like an all-white background because they're up against the wall and the other shelf. And it's a little bit shorter, comes up to about here. So my plan was to either get one of these lac shelves, the smaller one, which I actually have on the ground laid out for visual purposes, and put it up there. But as I was holding that up there, I was like, oh, it sort of looks like a mix mash because it's coming a little bit higher than this, and it just looks weird. So what I think I'm gonna do is actually go to Home Depot and pick up one more thing. And that is another melamine shelf. So it's essentially a shelf that looks like this with the white edge. In fact, I have some over here. But the nice thing about them is they're 8 feet long, which can span that entire width, going from the top of the half Billy bookcase to the other top of the half Billy bookcase. And they're 1 foot deep. So they're pretty much the depth that I need. Unfortunately, I don't have any spare shelves or any spare melamine in my little collection over here that can span the entire distance of 222 centimeters. So I'd have to go buy one, but I think they retail for like $12. Now that's a big distance for it to stretch across, and it'll probably start to bow in the middle. So I think I have two different options. I can put a shelf bracket like right here, and I might be able to squeeze one in like here, or put it right into the wood casing of the door, but that would sort of destroy the wood casing of the door. So I don't know if I want to go the shelf bracket route, but maybe, just maybe, if there's like wood here going around the door jamb or whatever you want to call it, if that shelf is in there, maybe I can screw a 2x4 into the wood and then screw downward into the shelf or upward from the bottom into the 2x4, and it would support it invisibly from the top. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to install the final fixture there, and unfortunately, Ikea didn't have the 6 full width shelves that I wanted, so I'm unable to like finish my Billy bookcase project of adding a shelf there and adding a couple shelves there and adding another shelf over there. But that doesn't mean I can't go to Home Depot, hopefully get that installed, and start adding Lego around the door. I don't know what to do. I think that's probably the best solution. I hope I don't think of a better solution, because that involves running to the hardware store, getting that shelf, cutting the width of it, cutting the length of it. The black shelf actually doesn't look too bad up there, but that is the longest one they make, and that really bothers me, and I don't want to string 2 together, you know? I don't know what to do. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to say this. Why wouldn't you take a full bookcase and put it right there? It's because it doesn't fit, and 2 halves don't fit there either. And no, I didn't want to do, there is like a large PAX unit that is like the width up until the door frame, and that would come out to here, but I think that would just enclose this door too much. It would just be like this big white wall right there. So I didn't want to go the PAX route. I think having the open shelf system there, once it's in stock, will look better. And a wall of Lego here on the side, actually. That's where we'll put the name bricks and all that. Colorful wall of Lego, Lego sets open system, Lego sets in there, Lego sets in there, nice clean shelf going across the top with Lego sets on top. I think that's the solution. Also, something else I need to do is screw these, see this big gap, into the PAX unit, and then wedge them on the bottom, shim them on the bottom. All of these ones are all screwed together. That's why it's so clean. But that would bother me, so I need to do that as well. But that's not going to change my cut, my length cut there. So I would have to drill through the PAX unit and then through the half Billy unit, and then fasten them all together, probably on the top and bottom. And then they'll all be one solid unit. It'll also prevent this from being tipped over by my kids. All right, just thinking out loud with you. Let's go do it. What do you think? I think that fits like a glove. Hey, little Ace Ventura on that. Cut it 1 millimeter below 222 centimeters, and it fits just perfectly. Now, unfortunately, I, for some reason, cannot find my bag of connectors, these things. I got them for free at Ikea. I just asked them at the service desk, and they gave me a bag full. Maybe I used the entire bag, but I looked in all 3 places where I keep my tools here in the studio, and they weren't there. So I unfortunately will not be able to fix this gap until I go back to Ikea. That bothers me. Like, wow, what am I looking at there? No, no. I also never screwed these together, and that would eliminate this little bit of separation there. So when I go get more of those, I'll screw all of this together and all of that together, and then the shelf looks beauty up there. And I'm not going to put my center anchor down either with like a top piece of wood or a top bracket or whatever it may be until I get it all screwed together, because this might move a little bit and I'd hate to put more holes in the shelf than I need to. Now to cut the shelf, I actually put green tape around the cut line, and you can see it is just perfect. I did get the rounded shelf. You can see I left some of my sawdust on there, but yeah, I got the rounded shelf. Now I do have to go back to Ikea because like I mentioned, I got to get more of those Billy shelves, and I've got to get this lac shelf, and I also have to get another half Billy bookcase, and that's going to go right there. I forgot about the fact that I need another one for right there. That's okay though, I don't really have any more Lego to put in this room at this particular time, but I needed more space and more shelves for our Star Wars room, and I'm always like looking at this around the door situation, and I wanted to fix that. Here's something completely random. I figured I would surprise Jose with a little holiday or Christmas decoration. I'm printing a giant snowflake. Isn't that cool? It is 1 hour, 13 minutes away from being done. Yeah, that's a cool little decoration. Jose's gonna love it. I went ahead and filled the shelves with things from these shelves, but they're still full. Well, I made them look full, but they're not quite full because there's still quite a bit of space. Like, I moved a set from there and put it beside the Jabba's sail barge where I removed a set. Down there, that's available. I can put another shelf there. I moved a tall set that used to sit beside the Justifier and brought that up from the ground so you could actually see it. There's a whole shelf over there. Multiple shelves that could go on that there as well. So there's still a lot of space, and that's a good thing because I don't think Lego is going to slow down on producing Lego Star Wars. You'll probably notice that there's no clutter behind the TIE fighters. There used to be the buildable figures back there. But I built a new display for those on the new shelves. So I put the buildable figures along the top because they're nice and light, and you couldn't really see them before. So now you can see them, and I actually think they look really good up there. It's perfect. They're nice and tall. You can tell what they are. They almost go to the ceiling. The shelf is bowing a bit. I do realize that. And then I put the two largest buildable figures other than the UCS Grievous on the first shelves. So you've got the Scout Speeder on the speeder bike, Scout Trooper on the speeder bike, sorry about that, and then you've got General Grievous right there. And I decided to move Darth Vader's castle here along with a bunch of different slave ones. And then over here I put the big Vader. He was visible to me. I saw him every day when I came into the studio. He's right there, but you didn't really see him very often in video shots, so I figured that was a better spot for him, and it fills in that shelf quite nicely. And I used to have the Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter with hyperdrive on like a top shelf, and this is just such a cool set. May as well put it there. AT-TE Walker right there, and the Coruscant Guard gunship above, because that lines up with the other gunships right there, and I moved the larger gunship up top. You can still see it. I think that's all right to have on the top shelf. I would prefer to have like Death Stars and stuff up there. They make more sense up high. But that freed up this whole shelf, and I was able to put the TIE Interceptor and also the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter Advance side by side. This used to be on the Billy shelves behind me there, and this used to be on the center area. It didn't really match the theme of the giant UCS stuff, so I got that out of there, and that gave these more space. Yeah, speaking of space, there's all this stuff here, and there's all the name bricks that I got to put on the side of that cabinet. And once again, I'll have to get that other cabinet built and installed there. And this isn't the end game. Like, I'm not going to say that this is the end of me or like finishing the shelving project. There's still more space for the taking. I mentioned this when I was first installing these shelves. What I could do eventually is actually wrap these shelves right around. And then all I have to do is just cut a hole in the bottom of them and put air ducts that come up and out and blow into the room. So I could eventually actually wrap them around in front of the window. I do have to worry about like mold and stuff like that because the moisture coming off the windows. So I'd have to look into that. But I could technically do that even if they just wrap around to the edge of the window and not go in front. So I could fit a couple more cabinets in this room, and then I could also fit a couple more in here as well. But that's like end game stuff. I really don't think that's going to be necessary because we have so much space here, down here, also down below, like the winter village setup. There's all that space. Like there's quite a bit of space for Lego sets, right? So it's not too bad. But I'm happy that I was able to get this done today. I think that looks great. Of course, it's not actually done yet, but I think this is better than having nothing around that door. It was hard to figure out what I was going to place there because there's so much to choose from, and you want to make sure that it can actually fit on the narrow shelves, and you don't want to take like the big awesome stuff from those shelves. You know what I mean? You don't want to leave that depleted over there. I also put the big Billy shelf there, and I raised up the Batmobile and spread some stuff out on the DC shelf, so that looks a lot better as well. Yeah, just a good day of tinkering with the shelving rooms. I always like just moving things around and improving the way things look, and I think that looks pretty cool. Well, just like that, I've let another day slip away. Oh, that looks cool though when you look into that room. And you know what? It looks even crazier in person than it does on camera. That's what every single person tells me when they come and check it out for the first time. They're like, oh my gosh, the camera doesn't do it justice. This place is ridiculous and it's huge. I'm like, I know, it's crazy. You know what else is huge? This snowflake. I'm gonna go give this to Jose. I think that's a pretty fun decoration. I think she's gonna like that little surprise. I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff. And farewell.